You're about to open a window into the life of a ghost hunter. We'll show you dark, creepy roads that fade into the night. We'll show you haunted places, but most importantly, we'll show you what happens along the way there.
Hi everybody, I'm Jeff.
I'm Linda.
And we're on the road for another episode of Gas, Grub, and Ghosts. And we're pretty excited. We're heading up to Unionville, Virginia, where we're going to do a return investigation. It's our third time going here.
Right.
It was the little ghost girl in the woods, I believe, was the video title on the Paranormal Case Files.
Yeah.
And it's a pretty cool place. We'll tell you a little bit more about it when we get up there, of course.
Right.
And then tomorrow, we're heading all the way out to Bassett, Virginia. Which is way out in the western part of the state.
Yeah, southwest.
We'll be staying in a nice 3-star hotel tonight and perhaps camping or sleeping somewhere tomorrow night.
Yeah.
So it's going to be quite an adventure. But the first thing we got to do is put that second G in the title.
Oh, yeah.
With Grub, with a little bit of grub.
Yeah, we need some food.
Yeah. Now, what are your thoughts about places to eat?
Well, I think I've got some coupons around here for Burger King, so I'm wondering if maybe that would be a good choice. Burger King's always good. The Whoppers are always good. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. Burger King.
Yeah, absolutely. And coupons are always good too. But what else is good is new devices to experiment with
Oh, yeah.
on Paranormal Investigations.
Yeah.
And we got a brand new device that was sent to us from the manufacturer.
Right, to
try out in Paranormal Investigation. And we're going to be revealing that a little bit later on here tonight on this episode of Gas, Grub, and Ghosts. So stay tuned as we venture off into the night in search of the unexplained and unknown. You know what we need to do?
What?
We need to bring the CB radio back out.
We do. I don't know why you don't have that.
I completely forget. I forget every time.
I know, but you've got this truck, and the truck has a nice flat spot up on the center of the dashboard where you can set that CB radio receiver.
Yeah, ever since I took it out of the Escape when we switched vehicles.
Right.
I haven't put it back in. And I remember once we get on the road, it's one of those things that I remember once we get on the road and it's not there. And we're too far out to go back and get it.
I would just keep it out here. I would just keep it wired up permanently.
Why not?
You know?
Why not? It's a good idea. But we definitely need to bring that back.
Yeah.
We haven't had much luck with it.
Nope, not
Breaker
yet.
1 Paranormal. But we'll keep trying. We'll keep trying and see what happens. All right, so we're here at the home of the Whopper.
Yeah.
And there's Will joining us.
Hey!
He actually joined us earlier. He was kind of trailing behind.
Yep.
It's quite a mask you got there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw ones that had the Wawa bird on them.
Uh-huh.
They have as well. That you can get a hold of, which is pretty cool.
I'm just a big fan of the fresh market, you know?
Everybody likes the fresh market.
Oh, yeah.
They do. They got some good meats in there.
Oh, yeah. You know, I saw an article online. It said that, some sort of, study, they tested a whole bunch of ground beef in, different package stores, like Food Lion, Harris Teeter, or wherever. And they found that a lot of the meat actually contained pork, a lot of the beef.
Oh.
And when it shouldn't.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
But not at the fresh market. The fresh
No.
market uses actual beef.
Huh. I prefer the actual
Yeah.
beef. I do.
Yeah.
I like it. And speaking of beef, we're at the home of the Whopper.
Yes.
So I'm excited to go in here and partake if something is on the coupon
Yep.
that I...
You have to tell me what you want, though.
I'm thinking Whopper.
Are you?
Yeah.
I think there's one in here. Let's see.
There it is on the top, $5 Whopper.
$5 Whopper. Yeah, but sometimes they have 2 Whopper meals. See? For $8.99.
Yeah,
Oh.
you can't beat that.
Yeah.
Well, I get one for $5 when you get 2 for $8.
Exactly.
That's right.
Good deal.
But
That's right.
we're
What are you
going to
gonna
give
eat?
the coupons for We're gonna give the coupons to Will.
Oh,
And
man.
let Will choose a coupon.
All right.
Oh, that $3 10-piece nugget looks pretty good.
You can't beat that.
Can't beat that.
That's
for
really
$10. Or $3. Imagine $10 for 10
$10
nuggets.
you could beat it.
Yeah.
That's like chicken wings. You know what I mean? Like dollar wings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they also have
Oh,
chicken
man.
fries in there or
I've
something.
had the chicken fries.
I
And what's
haven't
cool
tried
about
the
the chicken
chicken
fries?
Here they are, $3 large chicken fries.
Yeah, you open the box, and the top, it's got a little square where you can put the dipping sauce in there.
Oh, now that's
Yeah,
creative.
it's pretty convenient. It really is. But I'm starving, so
Yeah.
let's get in here and check this place out. We came up with this idea where we type in a random website and see what comes up.
Yeah, so let's look up ghost.com. Very generic, right? Let's
Yeah.
see what it is. So here's the first link that comes up, ghost.com. Let's click on it.
All right.
See what happens.
The screen might be blurred out here pretty soon. I don't know.
Ghost Solution Suite. It's an award-winning software.
Oh, it's software.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
You can figure it would be an IT company. They make a lot of money.
Yeah.
They can afford a domain name like that.
That's right.
For
That would be an
thousands.
expensive domain.
It would. It'd be an
name.
extremely expensive domain name. Yeah. That's
Yeah,
pretty
Virginia
cool.
Paranormal is like $1,300
Though.
a
Yeah,
year.
it's like a couple $1,000s. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why it's VA Paranormal is our website.
Yeah.
That's $11 a year.
Right. Yeah.
So, Will, one thing I notice at fast food restaurants is whenever there's a hold up on your order, they use the excuse we're making fresh fries.
Right. I mean, my fries are pretty hot.
Yeah,
I feel like mine are fresh.
but yours came out already.
Yeah, already done.
Huh.
Yeah, just waiting on your fries.
Just making a lot of fries.
Yeah. I don't know. Hopefully, well, you know what? Let's do a taste test. Let's find out whose fries are fresher.
Ah,
Because I got the last batch of fries.
right.
So let's see if there is a taster.
That sounds like a good idea. And what we'll do is a side by side. It's like you lay one of your fries on a napkin, I'll lay one of mine on there, and we'll have her taste them both and say which one's the freshest.
Right.
But she won't see which ones we laid down in which order.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, while Linda wasn't looking, we laid 3 fries out here. And she's going to taste one of each. Now, one of these fries is the freshest. 2 of them are the old stale fries from
That
Will's.
Will has.
Yeah. From Will's bucket over
Yeah, I got
there.
the stale fries.
So go ahead, Linda. Give them a sample and tell us, see if you can tell.
This one.
Is that your final answer?
It's much hotter. It's almost to the point where if you hold it for a minute, you can't hold it because it's so hot.
Yeah.
Now you got to taste it.
It's the temperature. I can already tell that this is an old fry. Old fries are floppy like this because they have been in old grease or they've been sitting for a long time. So the floppy one, definitely old.
Oh, Will and those little
This
floppy
one?
fries.
This one is kind of cool. It's not. Yeah, it's like lukewarm.
Oh, that's too bad.
That's a fresh fry. That's hot.
You might as well finish them now.
Yeah, I want my fry back.
The problem that we had here is Burger King, they have these television screen menus up there and things flash up on there, and the coupons were out the window because we walked in and I saw the Steak King, which I don't remember trying before,
Oh, jeez.
but this is what it looks like.
Oh my God.
It's
that looks
also
good.
available in a double.
Wow.
It's quite a mighty hamburger. I believe these are onion rings,
Probably fried onions.
fried
yeah.
onions of some
Yeah.
sort. But man, I cannot wait. Because this is one of those places you pull up to and you smell it. You smell Burger King. You know what I mean? You smell it from miles down the road.
Wow.
What a good burger.
Man.
So, Will, you going with the classic there?
Yeah, so I had a coupon for 2. It's $3 for 2 of the Whopper Juniors.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And it came with 2 old floppy fries. So, I'm going to go ahead and take off the lettuce, the tomato, the pickle, all the fun stuff, and come down to 1 patty. Let's see how this tastes. Yeah, just a little bite.
Oh, man. Whoa, hold on. That's not just an obnoxious bite. That's like a 3/4 sandwich bite right there. There's nothing left except for this stuff. You gonna eat that? Are you eating that stuff? That was pretty epic. And what'd you decide to go with?
I got the original, which is
the
kind of like a
chicken sandwich. Yeah.
They're amazing. I don't know why the chicken tastes so good, but it really does. But I always seem to get this because they're so incredibly good. And every time I get it, it's like piping hot. You know, you can hardly bite into it because it's so incredibly hot. So I'm really stoked.
There's that word, piping hot.
Yeah.
Now, somewhere around here we got some buffalo sauce. And I gotta say, this is what I like to dip my fries in. Now, Burger King, let me give you an idea of the texture of this sauce here, okay? It's a fairly thick sauce, kind of a creamy sauce, sticks to the fry really well. It's a good buffalo sauce they have here. Pretty good flavor. Will, would you like to partake?
Yeah, I would love to actually. Dip my floppy fry in your buffalo sauce. There we go.
Now keep in mind, it's not my favorite buffalo sauce, but it's unique. It's got its own flavor to it. It's pretty good.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's a different kind of buffalo sauce.
It
I've never
is.
had that before. That's weird. It's not too spicy either.
No, it's not too spicy.
It's pretty good.
So this device right here, we mentioned this earlier. I believe it's pronounced Eggly Wheel, okay? And it was created by this guy named Dr. Eggly. And this company produces this. They sent it to us and they said, will you try this in some of your videos?
Okay.
See if it has any application to paranormal investigation. Now, initially, it's supposed to be a vitality indicator. All right. So what it's made up of is this. It's just simply a little plastic piece here. You see it's got the little metal thing in there that sits on this little tip right here, right? And the way it's supposed to work is when you put your hands around it, it's supposed to measure your aura, right? Is that what it is? Like your aura, your vitality. So you put your hand there, and if you watch, within seconds, it'll start spinning. See, there it goes. Right, it's spinning. All right, and I move my hand. It should stop. Just about. And now let's see if I put my hand over here. It spins the other way.
Spins the other way.
Right.
Right? Crazy, isn't it?
How does that work?
It's my vitality.
Wow.
Radiating on this thing and making it spin. Well, in reality, we did a little bit of research. Okay? Now, watch this. When I put this lid on here, okay, if it's measuring my energy, it should still spin. But it's not. Right. And there it's not doing it.
Yeah, it's like it can't sense it past that little plastic.
Right. It seems that when you cup your hand around it, the slightest airflow makes this thing move. So me just breathing normally, or just the natural airflow in the room is going around my hand and making it move. That's why when I put my hand this way, it moves that way. This way, it moves that way. But if we take this and we put it into a paranormal application, we can see if we can get a spirit to move it. And we know that with this plastic thing on there, if we keep that on there, it's no breeze that's moving it. It's actually going to take something reaching through the plastic per se to move this device.
It's sort of like if you remember that pendulum that was inside of that little container, trying to get that to move.
Yeah.
Sort of like that.
Right.
Yeah, the thing that Kim made a while back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly like that. So we can definitely still use this, I think, in a paranormal application. But as far as it actually measuring vitality, I'm not completely sold on it because I think it would do something now. Right.
Now
Whereas
this little device is $50.
yes.
They're made in Hungary, and the only place you can order them is directly from the manufacturer. But they do sell them with actual meters attached to them. So you can buy one of those that actually measures the vitality according to the, I guess, the rate of speed at which it spins.
What's weird now, though, is it's spinning that way.
They called it, what, micro drafts?
Micro drafts.
In that video, just minute little drafts of air.
There we go.
They even showed somebody had put packing peanuts on either side of the thing, thinking that if it was a breeze that's moving it, that it would move the peanuts. But it didn't even move the peanuts, but it would still move that thing. So it's something about the way that thing is made that it's able to pick up the slightest little breeze.
Right. So when using, I mean, look at it spinning now. I got some vitality.
That's right.
But using this, like I said, in paranormal investigation, if we leave the lid off, I mean, the slightest breeze is going to move this thing.
Right.
So we can't really say it's a spirit. But if we put this on, and I think if we do it with this on, and it moves, I think we got something. So it'll be something to experiment with. Okay, so right here in a certain area,
There's a bit of a spike there.
Let's see if I get the same thing.
yeah, and according to this, it went up to almost 10 milligauss.
Let's see.
It's not doing right now.
It was about in the spot you said.
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Like
20
that.
plus milligauss.
There's something. And then it's gone.
Yeah, it's weird that it's, when it's there and gone. It's one thing if it's consistent.
You stopped it?
Yeah, completely stopped.
They both went off at about the same time, and then they went back down at the same time.
The difference in these readings, too, is this one was up to almost 20 milligauss, the K2 meter, and yours went up to like 1.2.
Mine didn't even go that high around the TV.
Here we go again, right here. Look at this.
It's higher than usual. And then it's
And
gone.
it's done.
Mine jumped up to a 7.8.
Really?
Yep.
2.5.
5.7.
Yeah, that's significant. So it makes you wonder if something, and then it's gone. There we are again. Oh. So we're just like little spikes.
Mm-hmm.
Right here. Oh. It's like jumping up. It's just weird. I'm walking through the house and this thing's just jumping up at random places and then it's gone. There we go. Look at that.
See?
That one's jumping up to a 2.
5. And then gone.
And then it's done.
It jumped up to a 15.
And then it's gone.
Yeah. Does it have anything to do with the electrical storm outside?
I guess it could. It's possible.
Maybe. Because we had a theory if it affected that before. Because there was another investigation where we had some electricity outside. Oh, when we were at Renee's house.
Yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
This one's pretty consistent.
That's still higher than normal.
And then it's done.
Mm-hmm. And it shoots up right before it's done.
Yeah.
Huh.
In Unionville.
All right, so we're starting off with an EVP session here in the bedroom. And it should be interesting because one of our theories, of course, with a lot of the spikes that were throughout the house is perhaps the storm adding to this, adding these little pockets of energy that may give something the energy it needs to manifest and perhaps communicate with us. I'm Jeff.
I'm Linda.
And I'm Will.
And we'd like to know, aside from the three of us, from the four of us, if there's anybody else here with us. We have a couple of means that you may be able to use to communicate with us. For one, if you come near that device with the red light on it, it may light up. Let us know that you're here. Also, any of these devices on the bed that have the lights on them, like this one and this one, if you come near those, they may light up. We have some recorders that will record your voice if you talk to us. We'll be able to listen to it. And over here on the nightstand, I put this interesting little device that you may be able to play with. It's a wheel that spins. If you can come near that and make that spin, it could be one way that we could know that you're here.
Are you walking around the house with us? Are you following us, trying to see what we're doing, what we're up to? Do you recognize us from the last time that we were here?
The unhappy kitty.
Mm-hmm.
We've heard that there's a little boy around here. Can you tell us his name or who he is?
Maybe that's me hitting the tree.
I don't think you were hitting it. I kept looking back as I
Sounded like
was
it
hearing
was.
noises.
Oh.
I think it's a real tree though. Maybe it's leaves falling
Yeah.
down. I see some down.
Because I was standing about here, I wasn't until then.
Is the little boy related somehow to the little girl that's seen around the house?
Can you come near that red light for us, just to let us know that you're here? Yeah, I don't know. Okay, there we go. A little bit on the K2 meter here. But as soon as I go towards it, is it just coincidence though that every time I reach for it, yeah, see, because it's lighting up without me going near it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the tri-field meter is not doing what it was doing before.
Not spiking at all.
See, yeah. I'm going to move this, just for the sake of argument, to the edge of the bed here. And let's scoot that to your side of the
A little
bed
bit
there.
closer to me.
Yep, kind of facing your way.
Oh yeah. Put it over here.
There we go.
If that's you messing with that little box, that little black box with the lights on it, can you do it again? Can you make those lights come on again?
we wrapped up our EVP session in the bedroom here, and there wasn't a whole lot with the devices. The K2 meter went off a couple of times, and we brought up the question with the K2 meter and the tri-field meters. We're going through the house, we're getting these random spikes, and at first we thought, well, maybe it was the storm. But then as we were sitting here, we thought it was kind of weird because the spikes weren't correlating with when we saw the flash of lightning. And also, when we were going through, if you moved it slightly, it would stop lighting up. So it was just, we just found it weird that this energy was condensed in this one little area of the house, like in the middle of a room, for a short period of time. But the bedroom in here, this is where they have felt somebody in here kind of shaking the bed. And there's been some various other things that have gone on throughout the house, which we're going to investigate. And one involved a cell phone. And when you pick up a cell phone, how it lights up. The cell phone had been moved. There's a nightlight in the other bedroom, and we'll tell you about that when we go in there, because I think that's where we're going to go next. This is the nightlight I was talking about, and it's quite a colorful nightlight that shines up on the wall here, but it's activated by darkness. So when it gets dark in the room, the nightlight will come on. Now picture this was broad daylight, sun beaming through the windows, and for some reason this nightlight came on. The only reason we could think that it would come on is if something was literally right up in front of it covering the sensor. So this will be a good place also while we're in here to try our motion lights. I think we can put them up and see if we get anything that might be here to interact with these motion lights, just because, like I said, it interacted with the nightlight. Let's see what happens. We'll have the Egley wheel set up. Haven't seen anything on this yet, but we're devices like this, it may be several investigations before we actually find someone that will interact with it, but we'll keep trying it, absolutely. So let's get the motion lights, set them up in here, set up the REM pod, and we'll do another EVP session, as it's been pretty conducive to that. Another interesting thing, of course, to note is this is the room we were in here last time, because she heard somebody coloring under the bed in the middle of the night, which would be, something you could expect from a child spirit that might be in the house. Okay, so if these motion lights go off, we'll use them. Meanwhile, I'm Jeff.
I'm Linda.
I'm Will.
And we'd like to know if there's anybody else here in this room with us that wants to come out and play. We have this little device down here on the floor with the red light on it. And if you come near that, this is what it does. It just lights up like that, makes some different pretty colors and some crazy sounds. Can you come near that for us just to let us know that you are here and that you do want to play with us? Those lights that just went out, if you go walk in front of one of them, it may come on. Let us know that you're here with us. Can you walk in front of one of those lights for us?
Off the bed right here is the Bible. Do you read the Bible?
Did you move it all, Linda?
I moved my head, but I had moved it earlier and it didn't set it off. I definitely wasn't moving that time.
Neither one of us.
The one to my right is still off. It's not turning on. Do you like to come out and play with the crayons? The coloring books? Can you tell us which one is your favorite book? Okay, so we're out here in the hallway, and what we're gonna do is we have the REM pod down here on the floor, okay? And we have the motion light in that last room there. And Linda's gonna come out of that room, and that way no one's gonna be in there. So if that motion light goes off, we know something passed into that room. And the reason we're doing this is because in this hallway here is where on several occasions they've seen this white misty figure go moving down this hallway. The daughter has seen it when she's come to the bathroom, and others have seen it in this hallway. So if it does go down this hallway while we're here, or if it lingers in this area, it should be picked up by that REM pod. And then if it goes into that back room, the motion light will go off. And we also have a motion light that we're going to put in position in the daughter's room here too, just to see if there's any movement throughout this hallway area here. All right, I'm Jeff.
Linda.
And I'm Will.
And we'd like to know if there's anybody else here with us. What we're trying to find out is we've heard there's somebody that comes walking down the hallway here, and no one's quite sure exactly who that person is. If you're in this hallway right now, there's a couple of devices that you could use to communicate with us. If you just walk through like you normally do, perhaps one of them will go off just to let us know that you're here. If you're in that back bedroom, can you move for us? There's a light back there that'll come on, and it'll let us know that you're here.
Anyone in the bathroom?
Why do you walk up and down the hallway? Are you going from room to room to see what's happening?
We have this little device here on this table. It's a little wheel that turns, and we'd like to know if you can turn that wheel for us. Dog.
Dog again.
What used to be here? Right where this hallway is. What used to be in this area? We know that somebody had their phone. Well, maybe you didn't realize it was a phone. It was this light up. Will, do you have yours on you there?
What's that?
Your phone?
Yeah.
It was a device like Will's holding here that somebody had. And it seemed like you maybe played with it, maybe moved it around. Will's going to put his out here, and it's going to shut off. But if you move it, it'll turn back on. So just like Will did, maybe you can do that and make it turn back on. The reason I'm asking this is because, like I said, we know that somebody had one of these phones back here in this room, and they said somebody picked it up, somebody moved it, somebody made it light up. Can you make Will's light up? That thunder, it's not sound effects, it's actually happening.
Some hard rain coming down too.
And there we got the K2 meter going off.
Oh, there it is.
Make sure to move this thing away from it so it's not the thermometer setting it off. And it's done. All right, what we're going to do now is what we call a rolling spirit box session. And this is where we walk around the location with the spirit box going to see if there's a particular area where we get the best responses, and perhaps stand there for a few minutes to see if something wants to communicate with us. Anybody that's here with us, we'd like to know your name. If I come to a good place, a place where you can talk to us, just tell me to stop, and I'll stop. Is your house nearby? If I come to a place where you can talk to us, just tell me to stop. Is there any kind of a message that you have that you'd like people to know? Do you like this nightlight? Who is it that goes under the bed and colors? Who plays with the crayons in the coloring books? When you're walking through this area right here,
I do. That's what it sounded like to me.
when you're walking through this area right here, do you know that it's a hallway? Or do you see something else? Do you see a different room? Why don't you stay and let people see you? Talk.
Just say your name.
Sound like that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't catch it.
that's exactly what it sounded like to me. Yeah.
Are you calling me? I'm here and I'll play a game with you if you want to play a game. Tell me what your favorite game is. So we have the other radio in the daughter's bedroom with a voice recorder going. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask questions through this radio. It'll come through that radio in there, and then we'll see if we pick up a response on the recorder. One of the ideas with this is that if there is somebody in there, they don't get scared away by or shy away because of our presence in the room. So here we go. I'm Jeff, and I don't mean to impose by any means. I'd just like to know if there's anybody else in this room. If there is, could you please tell me your name? Where is your house? We heard that there was a little boy who was talking outside the other day. Is he your friend? What is your friend's name? So we wrapped up the investigation, and there wasn't really much interaction with
No.
the devices. Now, there were the random spikes that were throughout that we're getting on the K2 meter.
Right.
But as far as the REM pod, nothing really interacted with that. Nothing with the wheel.
Yeah, nothing with the eggly wheel.
Right. So it'll be interesting to go over the audio recordings and to see what we got.
Yeah.
And of course, we'll update you with that. But right now, we found that beacon of light in the night.
Oh, yeah.
Long overdue
Right.
for a Sheetz run.
Yeah, we haven't had any coffee, and it's killing me.
Any coffee,
Killing
and
me.
it's like 2 in the morning or something like
I
that.
know.
So
I know.
it'd be good to get some
So
coffee
tired.
and perhaps some snacks,
Yeah,
because probably gonna wake up hungry too.
I know.
I don't know. Let's see what happens here. Welcome back. Why, thank you.
Not sure they got coffee yet.
Oh no!
It's temporarily out of service. Maybe they got some in the classic.
Well, just those are temporarily out of service.
Yeah.
Maybe the other ones
Maybe
are
the
still
other
good.
ones are okay.
I don't
I
know.
can still do with a cappuccino because the cappuccinos are good.
Cappuccinos are good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Look
What
at the
is that?
fatty.
The fatty.
Yeah.
Oh man, original
The
honey
fatty.
barbecue and jalapeno. That's quite a meat stick right there, I gotta say.
That is. That's a very significant meat stick.
Ah, and the Packy haunted ghost pepper chips. These are the real deal right here. Real heat. All right, so here we are at our hotel room for the night, and we're at the Quality Inn. Is that what this is?
Uh-huh.
Let's check out the room key there. The Quality Inn in Culpeper.
Yep.
And when I went up to the lobby, I got to say, to check in, the doors were locked.
Right.
Okay, so she opened the door and buzzed me in, and she said, one of the things she said, we got to keep the doors locked for obvious reasons. So I'm not sure the reasons weren't too incredibly obvious. I did hear someone yelling at somebody out there
Did you?
across the parking lot.
Maybe
I'm
it's
not sure.
crime. Maybe it's a high crime area.
It could be a high crime area.
Didn't seem
Culpeper?
like it.
No, it seems
Didn't
like a
seem
nice
like it.
area.
Yeah.
So I'm sure probably the obvious reasons weren't as obvious to me as they may be
No,
to some,
to
but
her.
who knows? I don't know. We'll see what happens.
But we'll definitely lock our door tonight.
Oh yeah, it's
Even
getting
with
locked.
The little deadbolt
The
thing.
truck is locked, and I brought the camera in with me.
Good.
Because the camera is the single most important piece of equipment that we have. Probably the most expensive piece of equipment
That's true.
So the camera is always protected. Like whenever we go anywhere, like if we're at an investigation, we go to eat
Yeah.
and we leave our gear there, the
Yeah.
camera goes with me.
Right.
So it's here in the hotel room next to my gun. So it'll be good.
Yeah.
So I gotta say, the Quality in here, it was very comfortable.
It was. It was actually really comfortable. The beds were just soft enough and just firm enough. The pillows were nice. It was overall good experience.
Steady 65 degrees in the room. That was a
Yeah,
good sleep
that
right
was
there.
nice.
But now, it's time to find some food again.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna head on the road to Bassett today.
Yeah.
We're gonna be investigating a house. I hope we can run video there. I believe it's sat vacant for some time. They have quite a bit of activity that's happened there.
Mhm.
So we're looking forward to getting out there and exploring that and seeing what lodging is gonna look like tonight. Some stormy weather out here in Virginia as the
Yeah.
remnants of this hurricane Laura is coming through. But we might find ourselves camping depending on what it looks like out that way. Keep you posted. So it looks like breakfast is going to be the McDonald's Fast Smart, which I have to say, I don't think I've been in one of these before.
I don't think I have either.
Been in the McDonald's Pilot,
Right.
but not the McDonald's Fast Mart. So it should be interesting. Or maybe not, but either way, it's food.
They're sitting in here to eat.
That's
Oh, look at all the wrap snacks.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Oh, look, they got the honey jalapeno.
Ooh, that's the Icon series right there.
Yeah.
Made it just in time to catch some breakfast here at McDonald's, which is pretty cool. But also, looking at the weather out there towards Fairy Stone, it looks like it's clearing up tonight,
It does.
this afternoon.
We might be lucky.
Yeah, they have sites available. So Fairy Stone is a campground
Right.
out not too far from where our investigation is tonight. And it's a state park that we've talked about for some time.
Yes, because there's a kind of a story or a legend behind it. So, and I have to read up on that, and they have it on the website.
Right.
So I'm going to have to look that up and find out the story behind it, and then maybe we can relay that.
Ooh, maybe it's a campfire tale
Yeah.
from beyond the grave. Or maybe just in the car somewhere.
Could be.
I don't know, but nonetheless, I think it involves fairies. So breaking out the McDonald's on
Yep.
the tailgate. I gotta say, this tailgate has definitely come in handy.
It has.
We got some of that McCafe.
I think
which
it's too hot to drink.
I gotta
With
say, I
the
like
creamer.
McDonald's coffee.
I hate it.
A lot of people
I
might
hate
scoff
it.
at that. We might get some comments. Oh, you like McDonald's coffee? I'm gonna unsubscribe.
I know.
But McDonald's coffee, I have to say, I like it.
Yeah, I do not. I mean, it's normally like burnt tasting. It's kind of like a Starbucks. Like they over roast their beans or something. So, ugh, blah.
Right.
But it's the only thing available in the area that we're at, and so I guess I can't complain. You know, beggars can't be choosers.
But
so.
see, you're kind of backing up my point. Not saying that it's good, but basically, why pay $5 for it when you can pay $1 for it?
Well, that's true. If it was any more expensive, like Starbucks, I definitely would not be drinking this cup of coffee. I'd have just done with an OJ and hoped to find some down the road. But it's cheap.
Well, let's unveil these. Ooh, it's already unveiled.
I've
Look
got
at
mine
that.
unveiled. I'm
Oh,
not screwing
man.
around. Look at that thing.
That does look pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
It's no McGriddle. The McGriddle is my favorite. But
I know. It's
you know
my
what I
favorite
mean?
too.
They only had the muffins.
The
left.
hash browns feel really nice and hot and fresh as well. So, kind of looking forward to that.
Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. So there's only one way to start the day, and that's with an obnoxious bite. Mmm, that's a good muffin. So we stopped here in Livingston,
I don't
maybe
Know. I don't know where they're at.
Nelson County, I
Nelson
think,
County.
along the Seminole Trail. So the road we've been taking all the way for the past like 30 miles or so. And we stopped at this visitor center in hopes that the bathroom is open. But also, these Sheetz things that we got from last night. I got a flatbread, a buffalo chicken flatbread, and you
Yeah.
got a...
Italian.
And how is that Italian?
It's very good. It's kind of spicy. I don't know what's on it, but I know that, like, as far as meats are concerned, there's at least pepperoni, pastrami, not pastrami, and provolone. It's a lot of peas involved. But then there's this orange sauce, and I'm not sure what that is, but I think that's what's a little bit spicy on it. It's
Huh.
orange sauce. More like a paste.
That's interesting. And
Very
this,
good, though.
this one here is a buffalo chicken flatbread, so I'm interested to tear into this. I think I've had this once before.
Think so?
I think I have, and I wasn't sure, like, with this, because it looks like a chicken patty on there. Are you supposed to eat it cold?
Right.
You're supposed to eat it hot. But
I think they're meant to be heated up. I would like to try
I don't
and
know.
heat it up.
We'll see. We'll see. But it's been about a year or so or more since I've tried this. I believe it was out on our way to somewhere we're going way out
Somewhere worth going.
But regardless, it's time to reevaluate the buffalo chicken flatbread sandwich here.
So,
All right, looks like we got a fairly easy open here.
yeah. A lot of plastic wrap
There's
there.
a lot of plastic.
It
Yeah.
is.
And here it is.
Oh, it's kind of
You
pretty.
can see the buffalo sauce on there.
Yeah.
And there's maybe some
Cheese on there?
sour cream, maybe?
Oh, cream.
Or is it cream cheese?
I bet it's like cream cheese, or maybe
Blue
it's
cheese?
like ranch or blue cheese.
Blue
yeah.
cheese.
Yeah, because
It looks a little
buffalo.
chunky to be ranch, but then again, it's been sitting out for 12 hours, so
No, it hasn't.
it's pretty good actually.
Yeah?
I think it would be better hot,
Yeah.
but heating it would mess up the blue cheese.
Maybe, but not necessarily. You can heat cheese.
Hot blue cheese? I don't know about that. So we stopped off here at a Sheetz. Not sure exactly where.
No, I don't know either.
But I've been seeing and hearing about this Sheetz pop. I believe it's fairly new.
Yep, could be. Or else we just haven't noticed it before.
Right, that's quite a possibility. But I have cherry vanilla here. And I'm gonna give it a try. Because I want to see what it tastes like.
Yeah,
I've never had the Sheetz brand soda before. And like I said, I don't think it's been around for long.
maybe not.
I think this is fairly new. So
Could be.
it's gonna be exciting to try this out.
Yep.
So here we go. The Sheetz pop.
What do you think?
It's pretty good. I have to say, a lot of times when you taste a flavored soda that's not from like a major soda company,
Right.
it's got, the initial taste is decent, but it's got like a bad seltzer water aftertaste, if that makes
Right,
sense.
or like a lip gloss flavor.
Yeah, like the initial flavor kind of wears off. It doesn't stay
Right.
as sweet. This one, it's actually pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah, you
huh?
want to give it a
Yeah,
try?
I do.
Yep, it sticks with you. The
And
flavor's,
it's a big one too. It's a fairly
Yeah.
good size, actually.
it's a good size bottle. 24 fluid ounces.
There's something it reminds me of, and maybe it's some of those like the slushies from 7-Eleven have that kind of
Oh,
real
yeah.
cherry flavor to it. Might be something like that.
It does, but then it's got the cream flavor, kind of like
Right.
the orange cream pops.
Yep. Yeah, it's pretty
Only
good.
cherry.
Yeah, quite good.
I like it.
Interested
I'd recommend
in the
it.
other flavors though too.
Yeah,
What
we
about
might
us
have to
then?
try a different flavor every time.
Yep.
I found this pamphlet that says Legend of the Fairy Stone. So this is the legend that the park is named after. And it says, the legend, long, long ago, as fairies played in a sunny glade in Patrick County, Virginia, an elfin messenger arrived with the sad news of Christ's crucifixion. The fairies cried, and as their tears fell to the earth, they crystallized into little stone crosses. Though the fairies seem to have disappeared, their remnants can still be found in that spot today. And it's these that are found, these little stone crosses that are found in this area. And it says there's very few places in the world aside from this part of Virginia where they're found. So, pretty interesting thing. A little bit more down here, it says there are many versions of the legend, such as the one above, but they are all basically the same. Fairies danced and played around springs of water with naiads and wood nymphs. With the sad news of Christ's death, the fairies' tears fell upon the ground and crystallized to form the crosses. Superstitions held that possessing one of these rare fairy stones would protect its owner from illness and accidents, and even ward off a witch's curse. So this park is pretty cool. It's got a paranormal aspect to it. Are there still fairies dancing around in the woods to this day? I don't know. Maybe we'll find out. At the very least, maybe we'll find one of these fairy stones. So we're driving around the camping loop here. It's literally like up a mountain. And these campsites, they're like on the edge of a cliff.
Yeah,
There's a window down there for
you can't really get the full scope of it, but right off of that pad right there is a cliff.
That's where you die.
Yeah,
So-
not camp. Not where you
Now
camp.
down here, it's looking a little more promising, perhaps.
Oh, this is.
That's kind of cool down there. I don't know about backing down that thing though. You know?
That is a hell of a road right. Look at that thing.
Yeah. And I don't think the video does it.
No, it really doesn't do it justice. But I mean, we can always go around the loop and come back to it.
Yeah.
You know. So, but I would like to point out. Look at that nice Coleman camper right
Well,
there.
that's something I've never seen before. Have you ever seen a Coleman camper before?
I don't think so.
I don't think I have either. And I do like Coleman, I gotta say.
Yeah.
All right. So this is the site we got. Down this hill that seemed perhaps a lot worse than it was. I don't know, it was just a little bit narrow of a driveway, and it's not as bad once you're down here. It looked bad from the road. It doesn't look
did.
as bad on the video as it actually is.
No, and it doesn't look as bad once you're down here as it did from the top from the road. But it is actually a pretty treacherous drive. It's an extremely narrow patch of pavement here that has sort of started to crumble and fall apart at the two sides. It's just wide enough to be able to get a vehicle down. If his vehicle was any wider, it wouldn't have made it. But yeah, lots of bugs already. Fairly warm.
Yeah, there we got our fire pit
Yep.
and tent pad right there.
Yep. I have to say, I rate the campsites that we have based upon their privacy factor. And this one has to be very low in that rating because they're fairly bunched together. You know, right now we don't have other campers at these sites next to us. We've got kind of a ravine and what looks like a creek or something down here to our left. So long as nobody else comes, it's not that bad. But if this place was full, I mean, it would really, like, we'd be on top of each other. And I don't really like that much. Like, I come camping to get away from people, not to be near more people.
There's no hidden valley.
No.
There's a bathroom, running water, all that nonsense.
I know. Who needs that?
It's ridiculous. I got toilet paper in that thing because we don't have to walk to the bathroom.
Right. And we have a case of water in the back of the truck so we don't have to walk to a water spigot,
That's right.
which is right there, by the way.
Yeah, but we don't have to walk to it. Even though the back of the truck is closer.
That's right.
Well, we finished setting up our camp just in time for dinner, which is one of my favorite parts of the day.
Yes.
Especially when we get to try out a new restaurant that we've
Right.
never been to before.
Yeah.
We're at a place called Papa's Pizzeria. And I do like Italian food. I do like pizza.
Yeah.
And I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
wait to get in here and check out this menu.
Yeah, especially since the parking lot is really busy.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that we passed this place maybe about a month ago. I remember seeing the sign when we were just up the road. We noticed a big bus graveyard that
Yeah.
we noticed. We're like, damn, we've been on this road before.
Yeah.
And that happens quite often now.
It's weird. We're always on these little back roads and we see something familiar and then we realize we've been on this road before.
Right.
No
Yeah.
idea when or where we were heading, but
No, but I know that bus graveyard. And I remember seeing that Papa's Pizzeria sign.
and I'll bet we thought about eating there.
Yep, we probably
Bet
did.
we did. So now we finally get the chance.
Yep.
All right, so perusing the menu here. Philly steak subs, deli subs, Italian dinners.
Yeah, they got, it's
Jeez.
really nice.
Yeah, it's a
It's
lot to choose
A
from.
lot of choices. Quite a hearty menu, I gotta say.
Yeah. But there are people that have asked to join the team that have wanted to join it that, said, well, I live in Northern Virginia, or I live here, I live there. So we thought, we would start bringing people on the team and just sort of interview them for that particular area. Kind of like you, when we come out to this part of the state, we could call you up and say, hey, we're going to be in the area,
Yeah, I think that's
are you
awesome.
interested?
So Linda, it sounds like an interesting conversation there. You want to fill in the folks at home?
Yes.
Perhaps make an introduction?
Yeah, actually, we are sitting here. We've already started getting food, which is pretty amazing because that was quick.
Yes.
That was really, really quick.
Those onion rings look pretty good. And
Yes.
whatever that is, perhaps a cheesesteak
Cheesesteak, yes.
with some homemade potato chips looks pretty good.
Yep.
But
Now
back to what you were saying there.
A couple of months ago, I guess, we spoke to Lisa on the telephone, and she was interested in joining the team. She lives out here in the western part of the state, southwest, and so here she is.
All right, everybody say hi to Lisa.
And she has hooked us up with this investigation that we're going to tonight at a house that has been sat empty for, I guess, a couple of years at least. And the house is owned by somebody that she knows. So we're going to go out there and check it out. And we're hoping that they have running water so we can use the toilet at some point, not have to.
Absolutely, and I had to check that out before I ordered the food here. I had to make sure the bathrooms were stable. That's
Right.
one concern. Lisa, what are your thoughts before? Have you gone out on anything like this before?
I have, actually.
Yeah.
I visited the Avenel Mansion in Bedford.
Oh, nice. We
Yeah,
drove right by
I've
there. Yeah.
investigated that. That was pretty awesome. Had a lot of experiences. So.
Really?
Yeah, I'm really hoping tonight's exciting.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. And of course, a lot of times people don't understand that it's nothing like on TV. You know, a lot of times it's quiet and there's not a whole lot going on, but sometimes you get that evidence. And when you do, it's pretty cool. And even if you don't, it's pretty cool just checking out a place that no one's been to before, asking the questions that no one's ever asked. Right?
That's right. Those onion rings are really good.
Yeah, let me try one of those. Just. That's a good onion ring.
Uh-huh. That looks pretty good.
I need like a wide angle lens to get this thing in there. I mean, to give you an idea, here's my hand next to it. Like, that is a huge...
That's huge.
It really is.
Yeah, it looks like a critter that...
No, we didn't get there.
That's nice. All right, so you tore into that
Oh my.
stromboli. Papa's,
Yeah.
It's the Papa's stromboli that we got,
It
right?
really is, yeah. And it is really, really good. I mean, it's nice and hot. The cheese is melted really well. And it's got this stuff drizzled over the top, which I'm guessing is probably like a garlic parmesan butter sauce. And it's amazing.
Try that.
It's really amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait to tear into this thing. I'm going to take a little sample of this stromboli here. I don't like to eat it with a fork. So hopefully it's not too hot.
The same exact view. There's nothing really that should change, change that.
Should be the same.
Yeah, but
Okay, so I just kind of follow you when you check on.
yeah, or just, you can just kind of linger in the same room and start, checking to see what may be making that thing go off.
So as long as it stays below the 1.0, that's fine.
Yeah, and even if it goes up to like a 2.0, that's a little bit of a jump, but not a significant jump,
Yeah, and we just mainly, even if it goes up, as long as it's consistent. It's the ones that are there and then gone that we question. But if it's consistent, it's coming from something.
Gotcha. Okay, this kind of jumped.
There's also being able to measure the EMF fields in people's houses is a good thing as well, because a lot of times people live in homes they don't realize they have bad electrical wiring. If the electrical wiring is not grounded properly, it'll cause high EMFs in the house, and over time that can make you very sick, and it can make you even hallucinate and have strange feelings like something's watching you, and it can really mess with you. And some people even say it causes cancers and leukemia and things like that.
Huh.
There was these houses we went to, this trailer out in Smithfield, and these people lived in a trailer. They had electrical lines going over the backyard. You couldn't go anywhere in or around that house without this thing, these electrical...
Going on.
Yeah, they were just pinging as high as it would go. And I told them, you need to move.
Yeah.
You need to get the hell out of this house before it kills you. Yeah.
Not because of the ghosts, but because of the...
Yeah, because the EMS.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all let me know if you find that.
Oh, we will.
No, it's all seeming pretty low so far.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we're here at the residence. We're doing the baseline sweep, and Linda's in the background there. Linda can come up and join me as we fill in the gas, grub, and ghost audience about what's going on here. Doing the baseline sweeps. This house, there's been quite a bit of activity. Goes back to possibly the early 1900s, was brought up from down the hill and adjoined to a newer portion. And the original owner is one of the spirits that's believed to haunt the house.
Right.
As well as the client, her parents, her father has been seen on the front porch.
Yes.
So there's a couple spirits, a lot of activity that's been reported here, which we'll fill in on the other video that we're doing here.
Right.
But quite a bit. And it seems to be centered around renovations. Whenever any renovations are done, and this is common, when people do renovations at a house, where there are spirits, seems to kick up, whether they come out of curiosity,
right,
or they don't want the changes to be made to the house.
Exactly. But the funny thing about this one is that the spirits seem to be counteracting all of the work that she does to renovate. She'll do something in the house and she'll come back and find that it's undone. She'll do it again and then she'll come back to find it's undone. So it's been strange things like that and one of the contractors repeatedly getting sick when he was in the bathroom trying to do some of the renovations. So
where the pipe right outside the door
constantly
breaks every time it's replaced.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff, definitely.
It is.
Well, finish up with these baseline sweeps and check back in. Hopefully it's someone.
Yeah, and not the ceiling breaking again. Don't hesitate to. We try to stay as quiet as we can so that there's not any excess ambient noise. But if you do make noise or you hear a noise coming from something else, we do what we call tagging it. In other words, if you cough or your stomach growls or you hear a dog barking in the distance or any noise like that, it sounds a lot different when I'm listening to the audio later on. And so we try to tag it. I'll just say, oh, my stomach growled, or oh, that's me coughing, or oh, it's me moving, so that we know that, that it's a natural sound and not something that's can be interpreted as an EVP. And try not to whisper, during EVP sessions, because then it's really hard to discern whether it's a spirit or, but you can talk normally. Is your name Eugene? Did people call you Gene? Men tend to get tied into the home. They believe this is what they've worked for. This is what they've worked so hard for all of their lives, and this is sort of something that's solid, that is representative of what they've worked for. So we understand why you are so tied to this house and why you love this house so much. Are you still here trying to make sure that people take care of it? Me moving? Did you hear something? I heard movement.
I didn't hear it.
You didn't? Sounded like it was coming from over this way somewhere. But it was kind of distant. Almost like it was either upstairs or maybe through one of those rooms. How did you feel about the family that bought the home when your daughter sold it? Did you like them? That thing's spiking up again. K2.
Okay, we're doing a spirit box session upstairs. A little bit of activity already with the REM pod that's down the end of the hallway.
Listening.
And Linda is monitoring the spirit box. We took out this picture because we wanted to know if whoever is possibly communicating with her recognizes anybody that's in this picture. Can you tell us the name of one of these people? Now the reason we chose this area is because it's right above where the pipe keeps breaking. And it's a higher point, which we thought might be better for the spirit box. Who is up here with us? Just tell us your name so that we can know what to call you.
First time.
Is there a particular room in this house that you want us to stay out of?
Attached to mine?
Let me ask you this question. Is there an object in this house that you want removed from this house? Is there something in this house that you don't like? Okay, so we wrapped up an interesting spirit box session upstairs. There were some points that were interesting. A little bit of activity on the REM pod. And what we're going to do now is step outside of the house, leave the recorder going, as we'd had some interesting results with that before. The REM pod is up there, and there's been times where we left the house, left the recorder going, and we hear that REM pod going off as if something's up there interacting with it. Knowing that it only went off once, if it goes off a bunch of times in the recordings, there's something up there playing with that REM pod.
Lights out.
Do the lights bother you? That was me stepping on a creaky board.
Is that the floor? Is the floor like broken? I felt it.
Are you a male or a female? Who is the man that's been seen out on the front porch? Okay, 2 meter again.
On fourth or on porch?
Oh, that's interesting, because I just said who was the man that's been seen on the porch.
Is your name Ralph?
Do you know why we're here? We're really here to see if there's anything we can do to help you. How would you feel if I told you that people are planning on moving into this house pretty soon? Are you okay with that?
Mine said yes.
That's a response right there. It's interesting because I asked a yes or no,
Yes.
and on cue.
Right. And that would be his daughter, if it's Ralph.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So we're back here at Fairy Stone, and I'm just out in the woods looking for some firewood, and I came across some of these rocks, and I figured I'd stop because I don't know if you can see it on the video, but some of them are very sparkly, and perhaps a fairy stone here? I don't know. They said to look around tree roots, and sure enough, there's a bunch of tree roots here. So I have to say, unfortunately, it seems like my rocks that I found aren't fairy stones.
No.
But they're pretty cool. They sparkle.
Yeah.
They're very sparkly
That's
rocks.
true.
Perhaps you said some kind of lava rocks?
Well, evidently the fairy stones that are created here are a particular type of mineral, and that mineral forms in a crystallized fashion or a cross fashion because of a superheating that goes on. And this actually occurred during the creation of the Appalachian Mountains. And so this whole area, for some reason, has had a lot of volcanic activity back in the day. Back, hundreds of thousands of years ago, back when, the Appalachians were created. So these rocks that you're finding that actually have, they're very black and have quite a sparkly appearance to them, in a sense, they're lava rocks. They're rocks that can be created from the magma and from, but there's evidently a lot of rocks and a lot of minerals out here in this area for some reason.
Down in that ravine right there where I was looking
Yeah.
for firewood and fairy stones.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Fairy
definitely...
fairy stones are actually a light brown in color, and they're always shaped like a cross in some sense. There's ones that are supposedly shaped like a Maltese cross.
Right.
And those are ones that are a little bit more rare. They're no more than about maybe an inch long. The larger ones are a little more rare. A lot of times you find the smaller ones. But there is a particular site here, kind of almost, it's state park land, but it's not actually in the park.
Right.
That they say that you can go to hunt for these things, and they encourage you to only take a handful or a few for your own personal use. Anybody that's coming for any collection for reselling or anything of that nature needs to have some sort of special use permit to collect them in greater numbers. But there was an article online that was pretty interesting that was about a lady that wrote it who was interested in finding these fairy stones. And she came with a guy who collects them and sells them at the Virginia State Fair every year. But not this year because of the coronavirus, of course. But he collects these fairy stones. And these things are said to be good luck charms in a sense. If you find one, it's supposed to prevent you from having any kind of accidents or being involved in witchcraft or, any being the focus of witchcraft, I should say. And from, becoming sick or ill in any sense. So it'd be kind of cool. We might see if we can stop by there tomorrow.
It would be cool if we could find some extra ones too, in case, because we do get some cases where people do seem to be plagued by witchcraft.
Yeah.
And it'd be cool to hand them out to some of those people.
It would be, although I don't really put much stock in rocks having magical powers.
Right. But fairy stones, though.
I'm a Christian. I
Yeah,
don't believe in that
but
shit.
these are fairy tears.
No. It's sorrelite.
Nonetheless, I'm eager to go and hunt for some fairy stones tomorrow, and perhaps find a unique place to eat lunch. That'd be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But let me tell you, before we go any further, the investigation. This one was cool. It was cool. This place has been vacant for 7 years. They're looking at renovating it. They're in the midst of renovating it.
Right.
We got some interesting things.
We really did.
And I'm looking forward to putting that together in a separate video so you all can watch the investigation. Along with the evidence review. I'm looking forward to going over that evidence and seeing what we found.
Right. Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
It was. There was a couple of things that came through that were, one thing in particular that really surprised me because we never hear a date ever said through the spirit box.
Yeah.
And this thing said 1790 and then got cut off. So it's like it was trying its best to say the year. but it was a perfect direct response to what the question was that Jeff had asked, and I had the headphones on. But that's
Right.
that's what really got me, is that it was like the first time ever that we've ever heard an actual year or a date spoken over the spirit box.
Some interesting responses.
There was.
That's for sure.
It was.
But right now, while we're talking about creepy things, I want to take you back to a time, maybe back as far as the pioneers, when people used to sit around campfires in the dark woods and share tales of the unknown and unexplained. In a little segment we like to call Campfire Tales from Beyond the Grave.
So in light of the fact that we are in Fairystone State Park, a place that we've been wanting to come to for many years, always heard stories about, and never had been able to get here, I figured that instead of telling a tale necessarily, well, there's a little bit of a tale involved, but I thought I might talk a little bit about fairies. Now, when you actually look up fairies on Google, you start finding information that is kind of contrary to what you may believe fairies are like. Fairies, of course, through Disney and other means, have been made out to be these very benevolent, very wish-granting creatures, these sweet little, flitting around the forest kind of creatures. But in actuality, the real fairies as they were known in Irish and the Celtic culture, were said to be very kind of nasty, sometimes lustful creatures. And people would often, travelers, they would take offerings with them, things like bread and fruits and tobacco, to be able to offer these fairies. And this is because if you crossed or you really pissed off a fairy, it was going to exact some revenge on you in the form of things like a really nasty storm or a bad accident, or even maybe the death of a child. They were known to be very mean when you cross them, and but they're also said to be changelings. And this is kind of an interesting thing, because supposedly they could take the form of anything that they wanted, including humans. And some people believed that when their babies got sick, that a fairy had come along and exchanged its sick baby for the actual healthy baby. So it had put its sick baby in the place of the healthy one. Interesting kind of stuff, because I've always said this about mermaids. I always said that, scientifically speaking, if a mermaid actually existed, it was going to be a kind of creature that was not quite so pretty as what they make them out to be. And this is the case with the fairies. Now, there was one particular story. You may or may not have heard it before, but there was a woman with a last name Cleary, and this was around 1895. And she and her husband, Michael, lived in Ireland, and she had evidently started acting a little bit strange. And she was becoming an independent woman, going out. She owned a Singer sewing machine and started becoming a seamstress. And supposedly her husband had reason to believe that she was a changeling that had been brought by the fairies, and that the fairies had put her there and taken his real wife. So, but the strange thing about this story is that she was suddenly reported missing. People started missing her. They didn't know where she'd gone. So they started looking around town for her. And she was actually discovered in a shallow grave. Quite a few days later, she had been burned. They weren't sure whether she'd been burned alive or whether she had been burned after she was already dead. But the case was that they basically dragged her over to the fire pit and threw urine on her for some reason. I'm not sure. Maybe they thought that would get rid of the fairy by throwing urine on her. But they threw urine on her, and when that didn't work, one of the cinders popped out of the fire and caught her dress on fire. So old Michael, her husband, just took kerosene and threw kerosene on top of her, and she went up in a blaze. So quite a horrific death, I would think, if she was burned alive. But she was stuck in this shallow grave, and her husband, Michael, along with, I think, like 8 other people in the family, and people that they knew had been a part of this murder, this horrific murder, and were all convicted and meant to serve hard labor in one way or another, including Michael. I think he got about 20 years of hard labor. And so, you know, they really, really, truly, all these people really, truly thought that this woman was some sort of changeling. And it's crazy to think that that many people can be all in on some sort of wild, you know, belief like this. But considering that the Celtic people were so immersed in this story and in the belief of fairies existing and in what their powers truly were, they obviously put a lot more belief in these things than we do nowadays. And to think that someone could actually be murdered because they think she's a changeling is a little bit beyond what we know of today.
I'd like to talk about a legend from Pennsylvania, a place that's actually referred to as the Wedge, because it's a wedge of land where Delaware, Maryland, and Pennsylvania all meet. And on this little piece of land, deep in the woods, there's a place called London Tract Road, which goes down to this old church and this White Clay Creek preserve. By this little meeting house, the London Tract Meeting House, there's an old graveyard that dates back to the 1700s. And in this graveyard, there's a tomb that ticks. It's called The Legend of the Ticking Tomb. The only thing is, there seems to be some truth to this legend. And the story goes as to why this tomb ticks. Way back when Mason and Dixon were surveying the land for the Mason-Dixon line, there was a little boy who apparently swallowed Mason's pocket watch, and the boy died. Well, Mason, he insisted that they operate and get this pocket watch back, as it was very valuable to him. But they refused, and they buried the boy with the pocket watch in his stomach. Well, to this day, when you go up to this boy's tomb, it ticks. There's a ticking sound that comes from the tomb. And it's said that it's Mason's pocket watch still ticking in this boy's stomach. This urban legend grew in such popularity that it attracted the attention of Edgar Allan Poe. And Edgar Allan Poe comes up from Maryland. He stops off at the Deer Park Tavern in Newark, Delaware. And there's a little story there. When he was at the tavern, he steps out of his carriage and falls in the mud. And he jokingly puts a curse on the tavern. Well, after staying at this tavern, he decides to venture up what is now referred to as 896 to London Tract Road to go to this meeting house graveyard to see if this tomb really does indeed tick. And sure enough, as he puts his ear to the grave, he hears the ticking sound. Interestingly enough, right next to this tomb, there's a heart-shaped headstone. And it's said that as Edgar Allan Poe was listening to this ticking coming from the tomb and looking at this heart-shaped headstone, that's where he got the inspiration for the Telltale Heart. This is legend, but Edgar Allan Poe did come to the Deer Park Tavern, and it is said that he did go up there to check out the ticking tomb. We don't know if it is factual that he got the inspiration for the Telltale Heart, but that's what's been told. Here's what's interesting. I've been to this tomb myself, and this is a stereotypical creepy graveyard. You wander down this dark, windy road kind of into the valley that just disappears into the woods. And you come to this little church. And the graveyard kind of creeps up among the hill with this old rock wall around it. broken down stones inside the graveyard, and there is indeed that heart-shaped stone right there near the ticking tomb. And the tomb, it really does tick. But skeptics will tell you that the reason this tomb ticks is because there's actually water dripping into the tomb. Is it water, or is it Mason's pocket watch? I will tell you, on the night that we went up there to explore the ticking tomb, we were leaving, driving down these windy roads, and it seemed like out of nowhere, the old Ranger, the wheels just spun out of control on the back, and we drove into an embankment. Was it something spiritual that was riding with us? Because this had never happened before. I grew up on these roads. I drove these roads for years since I was old enough to drive, and never had anything like this happen before. Or were the tires just bad on the truck? I don't know. Is there something to this ticking tomb, or is it simply water dripping in a graveyard? Well, we broke down our camp here at Fairy State Park, and I have to say it's a pretty cool little area to camp. We got in late last night after the investigation, had a campfire, and it was nice. It was cool.
It was quite cool.
Yeah, it was actually the first time, probably since the spring, that we've had a campfire and sat close to it, because it was cool away from the campfire.
Yeah, it was nice.
So it was pretty neat. It was good sleeping weather too. Get in there and get to sleep. It was like 60 degrees or something like that, maybe a little less.
Until I started freezing in the middle of the night.
Yeah, it probably got
This
colder
was
as the
so
night
cold.
went on.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what we're going to do is, of course, there's Grub in the near future here.
Very near future.
We're going to go over to this area of the park where there's said to be fairy stones. Yeah, we're going to do a little archaeological excavation and see what we can find.
I guess we'll have to use our hands because we don't have any digging implements.
Right, we don't have the shovel, so
Right.
we'll be digging with the hands.
Yeah.
And see what we got. See what we can dig up over there.
Got any sporks in the truck?
No.
No?
No, I don't believe so. There might be a plastic fork in there. But work with what we got. So here we are at the Fairy Stone hunt site. And digging tools are prohibited, so we might have to put that spork back in the car.
Put that spork away.
But one thing I cannot do is go digging on an empty stomach. Well, not digging on an empty stomach, but hunting on an empty stomach. So I got this Bass Pro Shop hot pickled sausage for breakfast.
Ew.
And I'm not sure 100% how this is going to taste, because I've never had the Bass Pro Shop. I've had the Tijuana Mama, I've had the firecrackers, all good. I am a connoisseur of pickle sausage. Not as much as I am some other things. I've only had like 2 brands, but I like it.
Rubbish, mate. Rubbish.
That's a good pickled sausage. These folks at Bass Pro Shop, they know what they're doing. It says it's from Monogram Meat Snacks in Memphis, Tennessee. You can see it down the bottom there.
Oh, yeah. Tennessee makes good meat snacks and stuff, yeah.
They do,
Like
no doubt,
Tennessee.
no doubt. But we're gonna finish this. I'm gonna finish this, I guess. You having some breakfast? Slim Jim, maybe?
I don't know. No, not a Slim Jim.
It's just like having eggs and sausage, only the sausage is pickled and you don't have the eggs.
Ugh.
All right, so venturing down the stairs on a new kind of expedition, one that we haven't really done before. Looking for the legendary Fairy Stone. 6-sided crystal, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong.
Yep. There are different shapes, different sizes. They're all light brown, and the dirt is kind of a reddish brown. So I'm guessing that these things are going to be extremely hard to spot.
Yeah. But there's definitely more of those sparkly rocks that I mentioned last night. So it's not actually a crystal, it's brown?
Well, it's a rock, but it just crystallizes at a really high temperature.
So it's not like emerald or shiny, like...
No, I think it's just kind of a light brown rock looking thing. Look at that shiny rock. Look at the sparkles.
That is a shiny rock. See, I wonder if they have this backwards. Maybe these things are actually the fairy stones. Yeah, nothing like looking for rocks on a Sunday morning.
Well, we're going to have to go deeper if we want to find these things.
Ooh. Deeper into the enchanted fairy stone park.
Yep. I think we're going to have to go maybe beyond these people. Because I'm sure all of this has been picked over, you know?
Right. I have to say there's a different feel to these woods. It's almost like some of the woods we've been in Virginia, it's almost like these are very old woods. You know, you see some of the trees that have been, you know, they're huge. And then you also see a lot that are laying around, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see these trails going up the hills here, which are pretty neat. And this is an interesting little valley that we're down in here, wouldn't you say?
It definitely is. I'm pretty certain that there is a stream that flows through here when it rains really hard. And so I'm guessing that the best thing to do is probably to look in the low spots in the ground, because the rainwater is going to wash these things naturally down into the low spots.
Right.
Right?
I would think so. But I don't know how long this creek bed's been dried up.
I know.
I mean, it's still pretty damp, but
yeah,
I mean, there's no sign of water. It must really pour for it to fill up.
Could be. Does it smell funny out here?
Can't tell. My nose is stuffed up on the one side.
Uh-huh.
So I can't really tell.
Yeah, it smells a little funny.
Could be the fairies.
Could be.
You can see how this used to be an old creek bed. You can see how it kind of snaked around through the little valley here. And now for some reason it's just all dried up. One thing they said about fairy stones was to look near tree roots.
Right.
Right. Now this is interesting, especially some of the tree roots around here, going along with the legend, because a lot of these trees are perfect places where fairies would live.
That's true.
And they tell you, if you're building, a lot of people will actually build fairy houses for fairies to come and live in their gardens, is the legend. But the mistake a lot of people make is they use man-made objects to build these fairy houses.
Oh.
A fairy house has to be completely natural. Elements that were found in the woods and nothing that was destroyed.
That makes
so
sense.
basically like dead wood that was laying around and such like that.
Yeah.
Nothing that was cut down or anything.
Wow, okay.
So I'm looking around a lot of these tree trunks, and let's flip this around so you can see what I'm talking about. These would be the perfect places for fairies to live. And there's quite a few tree trunks like that around here. If we look up the hill, you see a bunch of them, or tree roots, I guess I should say, where the roots meet the ground. You see a bunch of them that have little, I don't know, kind of caves in there, I guess. Any word on how big these fairies are supposed to be?
The fairies?
Yeah.
They can make themselves as large as they want to be. They can make themselves full human size, supposedly.
Interesting theory. What you just said, Bigfoot, fairies, is there a connection? Is Bigfoot a fairy? Maybe the fairies aren't the
No.
cute little things with wings fluttering around the, you know,
I suppose it's possible.
maybe Bigfoot's a fairy.
Could be.
This is like a fairy hotel right here.
It is. That's why I came up here, because it looked kind of cool.
Look at this. This is something. Quite a few different little coves and such going in.
Certainly.
So we finally found one. We were getting a little worried because I was thinking if we can't find something that actually exists like a stone where there's a bunch of them, how are you going to trust us to find ghosts and possibly fairies that might be out here? Here it is, fairy stone.
Yep, that's one of them. One type.
One type. It's not a cross, but it's pretty cool how it almost looks like an old rusted object.
Yeah.
But it's 6 sides. As you can see, if I hold it this way, can you see the 6
Yeah.
sides?
Sure can.
And I'll rotate it up and turn it. Each one is flat.
Yeah.
So it's amazing to be thinking that what I'm holding right now was formed thousands of years ago from the tears of a fairy.
Or volcanic activity.
Going with fairies. Another interesting thing to come through the woods and find this. Now I've heard of Bigfoot building structures like this. But why would they build it in an area that's kind of heavily traveled? Isn't that kind of weird?
It probably wasn't Bigfoot that built it.
No?
I'm guessing.
I mean, these are some big logs. If you look
They
over this
are.
side, like, it took some strength to pick those up and pile them up there.
Yeah. I don't know. They almost seem like they're staggered at this end, like you would build a cabin.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of why I'm wondering about if it's actually man-made.
Sure, Bigfoot can build cabins, though.
I don't think they need to build them the way that we do, because they've covered in fur, so they don't need quite the insulation that we do.
Well, quite a hunt we had here looking for the elusive fairy stone.
Very elusive.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Jeff found a good sized one.
Yeah.
But we searched and searched and searched and searched. And literally, you can get a headache by bending over and looking at the ground the whole entire time.
Yeah, looking through all the rocks. Look up
Yeah.
every once in a while, taking the green, and then look back down so
Yeah.
things look different. Otherwise, it
Yeah.
starts looking the same.
Yeah, it's a little tiring.
Yeah. But if you're going to look for these, it takes a lot of patience.
It does.
And like Linda said, it's a needle in a haystack. I mean, we went up 2
yeah.
separate creek beds and looked through all these rocks along the creek beds. Been here for a couple hours. And
There's tons of rocks.
there's a lot of rocks.
Tons of rocks.
Yeah, so it's easy to miss one.
It is.
I mean, they're not very large.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough. It's
Yeah.
difficult.
But it's something to do, and it's fun.
Yeah.
It's interesting. So it just takes patience, and perhaps if you come out here to the fairy stone hunt site, maybe you too will find a fairy stone. And if you do, we'd love to hear about it. We'd love
Yeah.
to hear about your adventure out here. But I think we're going to get back on the road
We need
because
food.
it's time for lunch.
Yeah.
So we were driving down the road, 58, I believe.
Yes.
Haunted Route 58.
Yeah.
One of the most haunted routes in Virginia.
Right.
And we saw a sign for Crispy Crunch chicken. And we
Yeah.
thought, yeah, we got to try some Crispy Crunch chicken.
Yeah, something a little different.
Something different.
Yeah.
But we realized it's not a freestanding place. It's kind of in the Circle K over here behind us.
Yeah.
Which next to
You're
the
like-
Circle K we saw a Sheetz.
Yeah.
And we figured gas station chicken.
Right now.
Nah, if it's going to be gas station anything, it's going to come from Sheetz.
Right.
Which I don't even consider a gas station.
No.
Nope, I consider Sheetz more of a restaurant / convenience store.
Yeah, it's more like a restaurant that happens to sell gas.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, restaurant quality food at a gas station.
Right, exactly.
So here at Sheetz, I tried that Sheetz pop last time and I liked it so much that I'm getting another one. Because my goal is to try every flavor of Sheetz pop.
Oh, okay.
Now I got
I can see
confused
that.
last time. I got to look back in the video. Was it cherry vanilla or strawberry vanilla that I tried last time? I think
Yeah.
cherry vanilla.
Probably.
But this time, just to make sure I'm not getting the same thing, black cherry. And I do like black cherry soda, so
Should be good.
yeah, I'm eager to gauge the flavor of this.
I just noticed these fresh brewed teas.
Huh?
Look, they're all like flavored raspberry tea.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah. I got an Italian sub wrap because I didn't want all the bread involved. I wanted to be able to, taste the flavor of everything that's supposed to be inside it.
Right.
And curly fries. Their curly fries are really good. They're actually, most of the time, better than Arby's.
Ooh.
And I got a little boom boom sauce to go with them.
Oh yeah, right there. So let's unveil that Italian sub and see what it looks like.
All right.
Or the Italian sub wrap.
Wrap, yes. It looks like a wrap.
Huh.
So, but I got some onions, I got some Italian dressing and some black olives and a couple of various things in there, but nothing too out of the ordinary for a typical Italian wrap.
Looks somewhat healthy.
Somewhat, yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
Go for the obnoxious bite.
That's a normal Linda-sized bite.
Oh yeah, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of wrap there. A lot of wrap.
It is. Better than a lot of bread, though.
So I got some regular fries. I do favor the traditional fries. And I got this sub that's a chicken sub. And you can pick when you get the chicken on there. You can pick whether you want the tenders or you want the popcorn chicken. I picked the chicken tenders. Okay, so you can see that's on there. Along with that, there's habanero sauce on there somewhere. I picked heavy for the habanero sauce, although I don't see any on the chicken, so I guess maybe they put it on the bread.
Probably.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's toasted, the bun's toasted. I got some black olives, some pickles, some jalapeno peppers, sliced tomatoes, and shredded lettuce.
Actually, it looks pretty good.
Somewhat healthy.
It just looks
Yeah.
really big. Like it's going to be hard to eat.
It does
There's so
look
much
like
on
a
it.
big sandwich. Oh, and I got poppers on the side because I could have had the option to put them on the sandwich, and I
Oh,
figured, you know what?
geez.
I'll get them on the side instead. So let's take a little bite of this thing here. Mmm. That's a good hoagie. So I'm going to give this black cherry Sheetz pop a try, and even the bees seem to be attracted to it. Once again, I'm impressed with the flavor. I am. A lot of sodas that are not either mainstream or like really unique sodas, ones that are kind of like gas station brand sodas, they have a bad aftertaste. No bad aftertaste in this. It's all black cherry. There's not that what I describe as like the seltzery water aftertaste, like kind of like when you drink
Right.
something from a fountain, like a soda fountain,
Yeah,
and it doesn't have
yeah.
enough liquid in there or
Uh-huh.
enough, what's it called, like syrup?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like that. This is really good. Let me just take another sip just to make sure. The Sheetz pop is on point. I would recommend this. I definitely would. So far, the two flavors I've tried this weekend, I've really liked.
Been really good.
Very good. we're here at the New Kent Welcome Center, the gateway to the East Coast, I believe it is.
Is that what it is?
Something like that. And it's been quite an adventure this weekend. It sure has.
Yes.
I'm eager to review the evidence from Friday night's case.
Right.
And then the case we had Saturday night. We took a lot of video there, so that'll be put out in another video. You'll be able to watch that entire investigation along with the evidence review from that one.
Right.
And I highly recommend Fairies Stone Park. It's a pretty cool place. Even if you just take a day trip and you go there to look for some of the fairy stones.
Yeah.
It's fun. There's a lot of people with kids there looking around for stones and stuff like that.
My recommendation is to take a small stool, one of those small portable stools that you can open up and you can sit down and kind of pick at the rocks. Otherwise, you're going to really have a sore back when you're done because, you know, it's a lot of squatting, leaning over, looking at the ground for long periods of time. So, you know, I think a small stool would have been beneficial.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Absolutely right. Well, we're heading out. Our next episode of Gas, Grub, and Ghosts, I think, is going to be pretty cool, too, because we're going to some unique places. So that's to come in a couple weeks.
Yep.
But we thank you all for joining us on this edition of Gas, Grub, and Ghosts. Until next time, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Linda.
And remember, there's much more to see in the dark.